This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Cybersecurity Awareness Month is still going strong, and LifeLock is here with a message about phishing, the scams cybercriminals use to trick victims into allowing access to their devices so they can steal their personal info. Being aware of phishing scams is one way to help protect yourself. For comprehensive identity theft protection, there's LifeLock. Start protecting your identity today with a 30-day free trial at LifeLock.com/podcast.
This is Scams Cons News with Jim Grinstead.
Brad Pitt is running up a string of lovers and a romance scam. And a car dealership in Memphis caught a scammer trying to buy two expensive vehicles and got it on tape during a celebratory video ceremony. But we begin with an 83-year-old San Francisco area woman who lost nearly $50,000 in a scam that involved coin machines. The woman received a phone call from someone claiming to be her grandson, saying he'd been arrested and needed bail money. The scammer instructed her to deposit cash into CoinStar machines at a local supermarket, then convert it to cryptocurrency. ABC7 has more.
And he said, well, the court has devised an easy way for people to pay for bail because a check takes too long to get there. So they have an account with CoinStar.
CoinStar. You may have seen these machines in local markets like Safeway. That's exactly where the caller sent Lois after she stopped off at the bank. One by one, she fed $100 bill after $100 bill into the machine, taking crypto account instructions from someone on the other end of the phone. The next day, another call, this time saying the prosecutor had added more charges and raised her grandson's bail by another $15,000.
The extra charges are because the woman in the car that he hit had suffered a miscarriage.
Back to the machine she went, putting in $100 bill after $100 bill.
It took me over an hour. Every $10,000, it prints a receipt.
And then a third call. This time it would be another $25,000 for attorney's fees and court costs.
What was I to do then? Just say, oh, I'm going to abandon him? I couldn't do that.
Lois says people tried to warn her, including bank managers who asked why she was taking out so much money.
I said, I've been to an estate sale and they won't take a check. So that's why I have to get cash. They were like, are you sure? I mean, they tried.
The CoinStar machine itself had warnings.
If you think you're being defrauded, stop. Well, I couldn't stop.
And even another Safeway shopper who saw Lois standing here for far too long tried to warn her.
Are you sure this is not a scam? And I said, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. And she said, I think you should check on this.
It was that warning that finally prompted her to try texting her grandson.
Hi, how are you? How are you doing? And he replied, doing fine. How are you?
After she spoke to him, she called her daughter Lisa.
She said, I want you to sit down. Something horrible has happened.
I'd heard of it before, but when it actually happened to me, it never occurred to me that it was a scam.
Solar power scams are heating up. In Huntsville, Alabama, scammers are trying to trick homeowners into buying solar panels. WAFF explains how it works.
Huntsville utility officials are warning you about a scam tactic claiming to cut your bill while being environmentally friendly. So here's how it works. Huntsville Utilities, their officials say they received word of scammers calling customers in our area claiming to be solar contractors with the company. They say scammers are offering to install solar panels on homes to help reduce your bill for just $35. That should have been your dead giveaway. However, officials say the scammers will then start asking you for personal financial information. If you get a call like this, hang up immediately. If you believe you've already been a victim of this scam, contact police.
When you're selling or buying a car, we want to get the best deal we can. The same is true of auto dealers, but they have tricks up their sleeves to make the deal sweeter for themselves. KY3 in Springfield, Missouri tells how it works.
Well, seller beware. Crooks see your Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist ad, and while looking at your car, they'll distract you and damage your vehicle. Then convince you there's a problem and you must lower your asking price.
When they left, I noticed there were oil spots on my driveway where they had tampered with it.
That's when Brandon Schmidley checked his camera. It only took a few seconds. Schmidley was trying to sell his 2013 Honda Odyssey.
With the one at the back of the car and the other one walked around the front, put some oil in the cooling reservoir, squirted oil on either side of the engine, just smeared it all over there.
He was asking for $9,000, but got less than half of that.
I mean, you have a car that you own and somebody's vandalizing it and you don't even realize it. And then they use that against you fraudulently on what can be a really substantial transactions.
What would make this situation right? What do you want to see happen?
Oh, a time machine would make the situation right.
It said the only things in life you can't escape are death and taxes. Well, add one more, an apartment lease. When the tenant died, the San Antonio apartment owners sent her family a bill to fulfill what it felt was a broken lease. The women's children received a collection notice saying they were owed $15,676 for the remainder of a 2-year lease. Texas law says family members can cancel a lease if a loved one passes away. The 91-year-old died in late June and was buried next to her husband. She had lived for more than 10 years in the apartment complex. When she died, she had almost a year left on her 2-year lease. Initially, they contacted the leasing company, which said they would use the security deposit to clean the unit and cancel the lease. But a few weeks later, they got a bill for $14,368 in accelerated rent and an $1,117 lease break fee. The bill said the reason for the charges were because she was deceased. The story was picked up by a local television station, and the family is waiting to see if the company follows up on the bill. The Dyslexia Center of Austin recently found itself at the center of a cautionary tale involving a fraudulent donation. Executive Director Kelly O'Mullen revealed that the center received a seemingly legitimate check for $95,000 from a supposed donor in New York. Initially thrilled, O'Mullen noted it was the largest check they'd ever received. The scammer had contacted DCA via email, expressing a desire to contribute significantly, and even followed up with a phone call about his son who had struggled with dyslexia.
Over the weekend, he sent another email saying he needed some of that money back and to do it through wire transfer. However, the bank caught the check was bad before anything happened.
Thankfully, the fraudulent attempt was thwarted, so we were able to catch it.
The Federal Trade Commission explains scammers use the fake money and get you to deposit in your account. Banks have to make deposited funds quickly by law, typically within 2 days. Scammers usually reach back out in that period to ask you to send back a portion of the money. But since the check is bad, you're now out the money you sent back, plus paying the money back to the bank.
This is Scams Cons News.
This episode is brought to you by LifeLock. Cybersecurity Awareness Month is still going strong, and LifeLock is here with a message about phishing, the scams cybercriminals use to trick victims into allowing access to their devices so they can steal their personal info. Being aware of phishing scams is one way to help protect yourself. For comprehensive identity theft protection, there's LifeLock. Start protecting your identity today with a 30-day free trial at lifelock.com/podcast.
It's getting to be an old story, but I keep telling it in hopes critical institutions like governments and medical facilities train their staffs to spot a phishing attempt. An audit has revealed that Savoy Medical Management, a unit of the town of Mamou, wired over $225,000 to a scammer impersonating a vendor. The audit, released by the Louisiana Legislative Auditor, found that the scammer hacked into the vendor's email account and altered payment instructions, leading to a total loss of $226,000. The fraud was uncovered when Savoy Medical Management discovered that the vendor had not received the payment. Savoy was able to recover $81,819, but $144,511 remains unrecoverable. A new global survey reveals that nearly half of respondents report they have fallen victim to a scam or con. The study was commissioned by Yubico, which makes hardware security products. It included 20,000 employed adults from various countries, including the U.S., UK, and Japan. Our AI voice, Matilda, tells more.
A new global survey reveals that nearly half of respondents say they have fallen victim to a cybercrime or scam. Yubico is a company that makes hardware security keys, and its survey included 20,000 employed adults from various countries, including the US, UK, and Japan. The findings show that 45% of participants have had their personal data compromised, such as banking or email information. Respondents noted that online scams and phishing attempts have become more sophisticated and successful due to advancements in artificial intelligence, with 72% acknowledging this trend. The survey also found that 50% of respondents experienced a cyber attack at work in the past year. Only 23% of those companies implemented mandatory cybersecurity training as a response. Among those whose personal data was hacked, 20% reported that cybercriminals successfully accessed their accounts. Furthermore, 1 in 5 respondents indicated that their employers only update technology and security policies on an as-needed basis. 30% of individuals reported losing money due to cyber incidents, and 30% expressed doubts about the safety of their personal information.
Spanish police have arrested 5 individuals for impersonating Hollywood actor Brad Pitt in a scam that defrauded 2 women of approximately $364,000. The victims, both around 60 years old, were targeted through online platforms dedicated to fans of the actor, where the scammers built psychological profiles to exploit their vulnerabilities. The criminals communicated with the women via WhatsApp and email, falsely claiming to be Pitt and promising romantic relationships. After gaining the victims' trust, the scammers encouraged them to invest in fictitious projects. Authorities managed to recover about $95,000 of the lost funds. Matthew Hiltzik, Pitt's publicist, issued a warning about such scams, emphasizing that the actor does not maintain a social media presence. A Memphis Kia dealership turned a routine car sale into a dramatic sting operation. A 63-year-old man attempted to purchase 2 high-end Kia Telluride SUVs using a fake ID belonging to a deceased person. Quick-thinking employees at Gossett Kia grew suspicious and alerted authorities. They allowed the suspect to complete the entire buying process for the vehicles, valued at nearly $160,000. The dealership staff even went so far as staging a celebratory photo and video shoot with the unsuspecting scammer. Moments later, police officers entered the showroom and arrested him on the spot. The man faces multiple charges, including forgery and attempted theft of property. A $50,000 bond was set. This is Scams Cons News.